What's up, everybody? SuperPat98 here, and today I'm talking about the rivalry between Mario and Sonic and Bubsy Bobcat during the 1990s, where there were a lot of amazing video game superstars that came out that were trying to compete with the biggest stars of Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog. And today we're going to focus on Bubsy Bobcat. And this is my little timeline, my little tribute to Bubsy. So round one, we have 1991. Mario establishes himself for the 16-bit era and is the big year that kicked off the rivalry between him and a certain hedgehog with Super Mario World, 1991. 1991, Sonic won for the Sega Genesis. His very first game showed the ability of the Sega Genesis and proved that there was a different kind of way to play a platformer. 1993, Bubsy, in Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind, made his way into the big console wars and became the longest remaining Sonic clone by far, and established himself as a major mascot game character of the 16-bit era. I really love round one because this is like the beginning of the big battle between Mario, Sonic, and Bubsy. I think Bubsy's awesome, but it just seemed like Bubsy was always like this other person that was trying to be cool, wasn't as successful as them, but I admire accolade that they kept trying, and there were people there that obviously had faith in the character and liked the character and wanted the characters to succeed. And it was like Bubsy was like the underdog. Despite the quality of some of his games, I think the character was really cool though. Anyway, round two. 1991, Mario had one of his cartoons as early as 91 and aired in reruns in 1993. Mario, Luigi, and the rest of the gang were in a cartoon form, and it sucked. Yes, the Mario cartoons were pretty bad. 1993, Sonic's cartoons were beyond better than his rival Mario. He had two cartoons, just like the plumber. Here he showed off his personality for the 90s generation to see for the first time. It really was a cultural phenomenon, with Sonic Sat AM and everything else. 1993, Bubsy had his own cartoon as well. Bubsy had his own cartoon around the same time as Sonic and Mario. It originally aired as a Thanksgiving special. The cartoon lets us hear Bubsy's voice some more, the same of Yakko Warner from the Animaniacs, and continue to see his fun personality. Round 3, 1993. Mario had his own comic that was shown off in Nintendo Power during the early 90s, using already established characters here. 1993, the Sonic comics came out. Sonic's comic book adventures blew everyone away who read them with awesome characters, storylines, and humor. The comics are actually better than the games, with brand new issues being released even in 2017. 1993, Bubsy had his own comic books. Bubsy had his own comics around the same year as the other two. Comics came with the Bubsy games at the time, as a special bonus. So you see what I'm saying? Not only were there Bubsy video games, there was also Bubsy merchandise. Just like how Mario and Sonic had their own merchandise. Mario and Sonic had their own cartoons, so did Bubsy. Mario and Sonic had their own comic books, so did Bubsy. Round 4, 1993, Super Mario All-Stars. Mario showing off how he's had the longest legacy of them all during this time. Showing off his classics so far, all in one established game title. 1994, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the Sega Genesis. Sonic makes the biggest and maybe the best 2D platformer ever made, with big environments and new ideas. Bubsy 2, released in 1994. Bubsy returns with a bang, his sequel. Just like Sonic 3, how it contains a lot of new ideas, crazier environments, and characters from the TV show in-game. Just like Sonic characters from his cartoons appearing in his games, like Mean Bean Machine and Sonic Spinball from 1993 on the Sega Genesis. So Bubsy 2, you can see the characters from the Thanksgiving special in the game, such as the twins and Arnold the Armadillo. Round 5, Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, released on Game Boy in 1992. Another slam dunk from Mario, showing his 2D jumping skills on Game Boy during the early 1990s, all with an awesome map like Super Mario World on Super Nintendo. 1993, Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos is released for the Sega Game Gear. More Sonic goodness on the go, showing the Hedgehog's dominant power as the mascot of Sega. If the Plumber Boy can do it, then so can the Blue Blur. Bubsy 2 is released on the Game Boy, 1994. Bubsy 2. Portable. Bubsy also made his own portable adventure adventures as well, establishing himself on the Game Boy, and showing how he can make his way to all the game consoles of the times. Round 6. Mario Teaches Typing, released for the PC in 1996. Mario shows his gameplay ability by taking it to home computers in an educational way, a popular fad of the 90s. 1996, Sonic Schoolhouse is released for the PC. Sonic's on the computer as well, in an educational fashion, teaches kids about numbers and letters. 1995, Super Bubsy is released for the PC. Bubsy shows his dominance by also appearing on the home computer with this game, an enhanced version of his original first game, Super Bubsy. So round 6 is all about 1996 and 1995. All three characters made games for the PC, stepping out of their boundaries a little bit, experimenting as mascots. Round 7. Now this one gets really interesting. Super Mario 64 released on N64 in 1996. Mario's glorified here once again in his first 3D adventure, a colorful world, and shows steps that all the game mascots are going full 3D, the classic early 3D years. Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn 1997. Sonic Saturn 3D hub world in this game shows an open 3D environment for him to run around in and looks similar to Mario 64. Bubsy 3D released in 1996. Bubsy made his way to 3D as well. In fact, it was the only Bubsy and Mario that were 2D mascots that turned 3D in 1996. The game was rushed to compete with Mario 64. Yes. Well, I think that's about the end for the 90s. And the end for Bubsy for now. After the 2000s. So this is after the 2000s. New Super Mario Bros. U released for the Wii U, 2014. Mario continues to go back to 2D, but 3D looking video games, following in a modern trend of a decade that's reminiscent of the long-lost 90s. Also, in 2014, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 is released. Sonic's following the same footsteps as Mario as usual, playing it safe once again. A good game that was fun, and another strange chapter in Sonic's legacy. 2017, Bubsy, The Woolly Strike Back. Bubsy's return after a 20-year absence. With tradition, the title gets a related pun attached to it, stating, "I've been trying to settle this thing since 1993. Just found it interesting that during the same time period, in the 2010s, Bubsy returns on the scene with Woolly Strike Back, and they're all here once again. And just like Sonic 4 and New Super Mario Bros. U, Bubsy the Woolly Strikes Back is also a 2D platformer with 3D graphics. These are the three from the early 90s. Look how awesome and charming all three of them are. I just love it. And this is the three of them from the late 1990s, going 3D, the early 3D, the 90s CGI look that I love so much that I wish they didn't never abandoned. And then the three from the 2010s. You got Mario, Sonic, and Bubsy. The way they look, they still look charming, still look cool, but I think here in the 2010s, all three of these major mascots, they all look a little too polished looking for me. I prefer how they look in the late 90s and how they look in the early 90s. Anyway, guys, this is my little tribute to Bubsy Bobcat. What can possibly go wrong? Well, maybe the views for this video, but I just have to express myself, and that's what making videos is all about. I do love Mario and Sonic, but I think Bubsy gets some unfair criticism. The games have flaws, but again, I think the character is better than the games. But I think Bubsy is a really cool character, and I do wish that Bubsy's legacy could have turned out differently, because then more people would think he's cool, and then that he's on the same level as Mario and Sonic. I think in terms of a classic 90s character, Bubsy is just as cool as Mario and Sonic. In terms of, you know, the character and the fun worlds, the wacky worlds that these characters are from, as a mascot platformer character of the 90s, in terms of style, I don't see any issue with Bubsy Bobcat, other than maybe the gameplay of the games. But anyway, these are my thoughts and opinions on what I call a trilogy of edge between Mario versus Sonic and versus Bubsy Bobcat. Please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Do you hate Bubsy? Are you indifferent about Bubsy? Or do you love Bubsy? Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys again real soon.